Thank you, everybody, and welcome to Why You Should Stop Using Email to Manage Your Tasks. My name is David Constantine. I'm the Director of Marketing here at DTech Apps by Discover Technologies. And joining me is our Senior Solutions Consultant and ServiceNow Wizard and Task Management Master Extraordinaire, Adam Moskoff. Together, the two of us over the next 30 minutes are going to take you through a journey to tell you a little bit about why you need to stop using email to manage your tasks and some solutions on how you can improve it going forward. So let's talk a little bit about email. Let's talk about the trap about email. And really, one of the biggest things that studies have shown us is what a pit email can become for worker productivity. And so in your organization and in organizations around the world, and for people just like you who are joining us today, a lot of us are spending about 30% of our day reading internal emails. We're caught in the trap of getting caught up on the daily activities of how our work and how our daily work life is impacted or influencing other people's lives. And to a degree, to spend 30% on being able to work in email is a lot of time. And to some, especially in the world of efficiency, find it a great waste of time. And so over the next 30 minutes, we'll talk about how we can improve that. As a matter of fact, 20% of all knowledge workers, so people like most of us here on this call who sit behind a desk, it is the great time waster in our day. And for those of us who are spending all this time in email, over 20 minutes of your day is spent searching for files and docs on your computer to help get work done. So looking at the trap of email, we also look at why email is terrible for task management. I mean, it's one of the things when you get a message is that you could be looking at something that's old or outdated. There's frequently, and I'm sure everybody on this call's had it, where we've had an email come through, it's been forwarded, it's been passed on, it's been moved up the chain of command, and it's come back to us in a form that's not anywhere close to what it was, if we're lucky that it's come back at all. As a matter of fact, someone may not even see the message. And so you can have tasks that are being assigned via email that are completely lost, whether somebody's on vacation, there's been some employee turnover. And then even more so, as we get through this great disjointed process of email as a form of task management, there's a lot of areas of pitfalls where miscalculations can threaten the cost, the schedule, and really the integrity of the project or task that's at hand. So if I want to sort of take us back a bit, before we really kind of dive into the nuts and bolts of it, I want to kind of go through a concept I like to call treeconomics, tree plus economics, treeconomics. So for a lot of us, I think we can all relate that if we're going to cut down a tree, if we've got any sort of yard work involved, you need the right tools. And in this case, it's either going to be an axe, which is a very useful, very manual, labor-intensive tool, or a chainsaw, very automated, I say, very expensive way to do cutting down a simple tree. And if you're looking for cost-effective, well, the axes might be your better route. As a matter of fact, for one tree, absolutely, the axe is your better route. But what if we need to, say, cut down a bunch of trees? There be it, we need to cut a forest for this example. Well, an axe is going to take you forever. But with a chainsaw, at least the efficiency grows up there. So visually represented, and if we think about it, yeah, an axe, I can do a tree. And over time, I can eventually do a forest. But it's not going to be the smoothest tool. And with a chainsaw, I'm going to spend a lot of money to do one tree, but over time, the efficiencies of that chainsaw and the number of trees I can clear with it, well, it goes down. And really, so we're looking for this equilibrium point, this point where, When do I keep using an axe? And when do I start using a chainsaw? And that's the same sort of concept when we think about email. So email, for the most part, for our own personal use, maybe one, two, maybe for a small business, small handful of employees kind of business, not a mid-sized business to enterprise size. But for a small business, it's cost effective. It's fairly easy to set up email, especially in the world of the cloud today. We can set up an email in minutes. We can set up a series of email accounts in seconds, uh, and over time, it gets more expensive to manage tasks where you're doing it through email. However, if you were to go out and buy a robust project management software solution suite, well, for one task, it's rather expensive, and the efficiency there is sort of lost. And so what we're trying to do here, and what we're trying to figure out is how do I make this efficient, and how do I make this something that's going to be more practical and easy for my business? How do I get to that middle point? Or even at that, what tools out there are going to move that line over to the left so that I can get a high priced, high quality, robust enterprise level task management solution um, at a lower price point? How can I start leaving email sooner and get into task and project management software sooner? And that's where Tasker comes in. And if you think about task management and what we've done with the Tasker platform, it's very similar to the same things we just covered in Treeconomics. We've got tasks versus projects. And so even further, where do I look at for a task management solution? Because we all have daily tasks. We have work we have to accomplish. That's what our jobs are. It's a series of tasks and some big projects that we have to accomplish every day to get across that line to do work. And so when we look at this from a concept of the simple and ad hoc task, well, one person does really one task so long as they're trained and specialized in it and they have all the equipment necessary to perform it. As is with anybody who gets hired for a job, you met some sort of minimum requirement to accomplish that task that employer wanted you to do. As your tasks become more complex, the number of participants increase, the complexity of the workflow that's required for approvals, for moving on from point A to point B, becomes a little more interesting. And so as we look at tasks and projects, and we think about the same thing as email and taking tasks out of email, again, the simple and the ad hoc, really email is just become a substitute for paper and spreadsheets. And to some degree, a lot of people out there have looked at adopting some task management tools, very unsecure, very much tools you have to log into the web. There are security pitfalls when you reach out through the internet, both from your own standpoint as a user logging in, as well as from the point of somebody who is administering the solution. Too many times do we see security breaches in large organizations providing these cloud-based solutions. So we have to consider that not just as a SaaS solution, but really it's an unsecure SaaS solution, that there's a risk for that. And then we start moving into more complex workflow software. There's 100 vendors who are providing enterprise level software that you can use to customize and build your own workflows to define how a task or project will get done. And then, of course, there's even the further, if you've got coders or access to consulting companies, a custom solution that's built just for the way your business does work. And where Tasker fits is Tasker's robust enough to handle your simple and daily tasks. But it also starts getting into the level where a lot of these project management solutions that people are buying that are expensive, that are complex and large, difficult to install, difficult to maintain, Tasker comes into that space to relieve you of having to actually upgrade to that level of solution, so that you can stay with your Tasker suite and not have to move on to something bigger and more complex and more expensive. And so that's what we've got here with the Tasker suite. It's not just about complexity, it's really about being cost effective. And within that Tasker suite, it includes Tasker, We also have Doc Integrator, the ability to surface files and content that's stored in SharePoint, the leading document repository in business and enterprise today. And all of this built on the secure platform of ServiceNow, built on Now. It's intuitive, it's secure, it's cost effective. So when you think about that task management project and that ability and how we're doing work today without it, you get the big idea. And then you've got to go through the process of assigning it, reminding yourself and hoping the work gets done, or hoping, even worse, if you have employee turnover, it ends up in a black hole. So that process today now comes to an end because you have Tasker, an easy and secure way to collaborate, to make people more accountable, to provide that visibility from the bottom of the organization to the top. So now your leaders at the executive and C-suite, all the way down to your various levels of management, directors, managers, other leads, so on and so forth, regardless of the work being done, everybody has access to seeing how it's being done from an accountability standpoint, which is great if you're an individual contributor. Now your work doesn't go unnoticed. So with that, I want to hand over my time here to my colleague, Adam Moskoff.
Awesome. Okay, folks, so what we're looking at right now is the basic Tasker interface. It is designed to replace email, to give people an easy to use way of figuring out what do they have to do, what about the things other people have done, and lay it all out so you don't end up forgetting about that email you got 2 weeks ago, you didn't file inside a special inbox folder or perhaps put into a spreadsheet to track. Here, the idea is for end users to have something which allows you not to use email. Email is great for some things, but when it comes to tracking work, it's bad visibility. If I send someone an email, I don't know if they've read it. I don't know if they're acting on it. I don't get that visibility. If they forward it on to other people for help, I still don't get that visibility. So email is sort of the default tool that everybody's been using because they haven't found something better. So looking at this, right, when I log into the screen, the first thing I'm looking at, which is very different from email, is my active tasks. This is the stuff which I still need to do. When I finish it, it's saved. I can find it. I can look it up like an old email, but it's not cluttering my viewpoint. So now I know, what do I have to work on these days? I can also look at the stuff I've asked other people to do, right? This is the stuff I've sent to other folks, and we'll see what state it's in. Who have I sent it to? Are they working on it? And if they haven't worked on it, and if I sent it to them a week ago, at least it gives me the information to follow up and say, hey, Juaria, why haven't you accepted that task? And then maybe I find out she's on vacation, and then I need to reassign it to someone else. So we have that visibility, which isn't available inside email to understand what's going on in your environment. We also wanted to make it easy to do. We don't want it to be a burden to transition from email to Tasker. So if I wanted to create a simple task, this form is very similar to email, right? I can take a task and assign it to my colleague Juaria. Oops, first I've got to do a task name. And so this would be much like the subject line, the task name. Please attach the latest hiring policy document, right? Juaria's been putting together a hiring policy document. I want to take a copy at it so that I can look at it and I can do what I need to do. So in this case, I'm going to find her in the list, and this is much like TwoField. If I need to add it to other people, I click a box. Now I can assign it to teams, like an entire team if I want to, and I can also assign it to other individuals, much like a CC line with email. You don't have to, it's an option. And it's supposed to be that easy. So Juaria, please attach the latest policy document for my review. And that's it, right? I created. So this is going over to Juaria. She's going to get an email which says, hey, Juaria, you've been assigned a task with a link which will take her into the task. And then she'll be able to work it. Keep in mind, yes, we integrate with email, even though we compete with email. But this is optional. People who are using the Tasker portal regularly might turn off those email notifications. Those people who aren't might want it so it's easier to find out when they've been tasked something. We design it for all different types of people. I'm going to switch going over to Joaria right now. This is a different browser. We're logged in as her. And we can see even at the top here, please attach the latest hiring policy document. She gets this task, whether she gets it from email or she's in the portal looking at it, right? She comes in and she gets instructions. Please attach the latest policy document. So traditionally, with an email, if I sent that as an email, she would attach it as an attachment in email and she'd send it back to me. But what if this document and this request had PII or some other type of controlled information? Email's not very good at that. And sometimes you're not even allowed to use email for documentation. Well, with Tasker and Doc Integrator, what she can do is in this case, she can browse her file system, find the policy document she's looking for, and then upload it into SharePoint. So this is our native integration to SharePoint. It doesn't even need ServiceNow, but what it does is it allows everything ServiceNow to leverage SharePoint without ever having to go into SharePoint. So by uploading this, she uploaded this into SharePoint. It never went to ServiceNow, but now it's linked into this particular task. So she's uploaded it. It's good to go for me to take a look at. And now she can just send it back, send to review. I've attached the document you requested. And that's it, right? She sends it to review. And now if we take a quick look, I'm going to switch back to me as an end user going over to Google Chrome. And we see that this task to her is now purple. It updated automatically. I'll get an email notification saying, hey, Joaria has responded and marked, her task for review. And I can also see in here in the shared documents, I now have access to the same thing, but it's in SharePoint. It's not an attachment. And anytime I need to check out and anytime I ask what happened, where is this, I'll have a reference to that document. But we do so much more than just email replacement. So if we have a more complex task, maybe multiple people working together, like maybe we're putting together a brand new hiring policy document, and I need to collaborate with the whole team, now we're looking at a more complex task. So as we can see here at the top, I subbed this out to 5 different people, right? And I can see that Joaria again here has accepted it. But more than that, unlike a workflow, which I know this looks like, she was then able to create 2 new subtasks herself out to Hugh and Colin, because maybe for her portion, she needed to run some metrics. So she subtasked some of her colleagues, Hugh and Colin, to create those metrics for her. And she's able to do that. But as the initiator of the task, I now have visibility into that. I can now see, oh, wow, I should have thought of that in the first place, perhaps. Or, wow, I didn't realize so much work was required. But it's giving me visibility into everything which is happening inside the entire task structure. In the old days, if I had sent her an email saying, hey, can you do this section of this document? She probably would have forwarded that on to Hugh and Colin via email and said, hey guys, can you help me out with this? And I would have no visibility into that. I wouldn't see that that was done because it would be an email. But the dynamic system allows everyone to stay involved in the process. Down here, I can see that Rob and John, they've finished their portion. They've sent it back to me to review. That's what the purple is. And Catherine's working on it actively. I bring this up because these color coordination, this color indicator of the state of the tasks allows me to actually understand everything going on in the flow at a high level without needing to start reading through pages of text. I can look, I can see this is mostly done. It's under control. Catherine's working on it. Great. And then I see up here that this is assigned to Ike. And that's not great, because why is everybody else either accepting it, letting us know they will work on it when they get their metrics, for example, or they're actively working on it or they're done. Ike here hasn't even accepted it. And so it's giving me that feedback to go in and figure out that Ike is in fact on vacation and his colleague Jacqueline is covering for him while he's gone. So now I just can come in here, I can find Jacqueline, and now I can reassign this task, unlike with a workflow, and just reassign it to Jacqueline. And she'll now get that email saying, hey, Jacqueline, you've been assigned a task, and she can start doing Ike's work for him while he's on vacation. And so it's that sort of visual indicators and situational awareness of what's going on in the world which really helps a lot of organizations, whether you're just a Jacqueline doing some work, at least now you know what you're doing, to the manager, making sure this whole task is complete, to executives at a higher level saying, hey, what's going on? How's my whole organization doing? One thing before we get into that visibility, however, is the concept of templates. And this I bring up is you can also pre-build tasks. It's not a workflow, it's a task, but you can set this up so that you just click run and it deploys, or you can set it up according to a schedule so that it goes out, say the fourth Thursday of every November automatically. And you can have tasks going out, but when they're deployed, unlike with workflow, you can change them. You can reassign people, you can add new subtasks, you can make changes on the fly as the organization needs. And where we fit and where we do much better than email is that we're doing that 80% of work, as per the slide that DC showed, which isn't regimented enough for project management software or workflow, because it's dynamic, because we need to figure out, hey, who's going to do this part next, because this is new, and how many people do we need, and get that visibility. And so our templates are a way to, for example, build what we call 80% templates, where 80% of the workflow is built out, but then you can do that other 20% depending on specific requirements after it's deployed. Another thing which our customers really love is the dashboarding capabilities. So as we come in, we are able to leverage ServiceNow's very powerful reports and analytics. So whether you're an administrator of Tasker saying, how many of our licenses are we using? We're using 67 of 300. How many users? Well, we've been flat at 67 for some time now, right? All your metrics you need to administer the application. We also, of course, have the enterprise overview, and this might be for high-level executives, which is how much are we using it, right? How many open tasks are in the system right now? Who is using it the most? Which teams are using it the most? Everything here, of course, is real-time and actionable. So if I come into the SC team, I can see all 41 tasks, which are active, which are going on right now, and drill into this data real-time. And we even get data over time, right? Are we adopting this as an organization? How much are people using this versus resorting to email? We can now see that the task workload for a while was flat, but then recently bumped up to something closer to 250 or even 270. And we're getting those metrics. And teams, right? Managers of their teams also have their own metrics, as do individuals. You know, as an individual, what do I care about? Am I doing my stuff on time? Is my boss happy with my performance? What do I need to do to be better? And so now I can look at my team and see that, and I can look at myself and see all that information. And this is something which email will never be able to give you. And that's it for today's demo.
Great, thanks, Adam. Let me go ahead and I'm going to pick up the screen share from here. Perfect. So with that being said, due to time, I'm just going to jump right into questions. But I hope this took the time to explain to you a little bit about the pitfalls of managing your tasks in email. You got some insights into how you can do it better and faster through Tasker, and we're able to sort of understand how robust the platform is and its functionality, because it is built on now. With that being said, I'm going to open up for questions.
DC, just so you know, we did get a question via the chat mechanism as well.
Yep. No, I've got all the. I'm going through the queue of questions, and awesome. I will put these in order. The first one actually came earlier, and it asked, "What is ServiceNow?" So I'll let you, as the ex-ServiceNow guy, I'll let you explain that one, Adam, so that. As a former ServiceNower, I'll let you explain what the ServiceNow platform is.
So as succinctly as I can, ServiceNow was originally built as a software development platform, allowing different coders to create their own applications while leveraging things like a single security layer, an interface, and user access controls. Eventually, ServiceNow built their own apps on their own engine. And now it's a powerful platform with a wide variety of capabilities, from help desk ticketing to project management to security operations and customer service management. But because of their legacy, their history of being a software development platform, it encourages partners like us to be able to write our own applications on their engine.
Perfect. All right, and then next question is, what are the licensing costs and how many users? How do I get this? So, so typically it depends on your organization. We do have a minimum user count, and then licensing depends on the configuration of whether you're going to do SharePoint or not. What I'll do is that conversation we'll put into a secondary conversation. I'll have somebody from our account management team follow up on that. How do we know? How do we know if we actually have ServiceNow? Okay, so most organizations call your IT department. You'll find out real quickly if you already have ServiceNow. If not, we can get you in touch with either through ourselves or through another partner of ours who's a ServiceNow partner to help you get onboarded with ServiceNow. The question regarding integrations, does this integrate with HubSpot? So both HubSpot and ServiceNow, and because we're built on Now, we inherit everything that's good about ServiceNow. So, and that includes the open APIs. So you can custom code or custom build integrations. There is nothing out of the box to leverage out of the box integrations between the two platforms. You can use tools like a Zapier or an Automate.io to sort of craft your own. Again, that does take you outside of the two platforms to craft it, but that is one approach. The other way is when you get it integrated to have somebody actually build it properly.
I would add to that, if I may, DC, that ServiceNow is designed to integrate to any system with an exposed API, which includes HubSpot. Yep. So building an integration between ServiceNow and therefore Tasker and Doc Integrator and HubSpot would not be particularly arduous, and it would be a configuration leveraging the existing API capabilities of ServiceNow. In fact, there may in fact already be out-of-the-box integrations to HubSpot from ServiceNow, which our applications could leverage.
Cool. Let's see, I have a person who says, Microsoft wants us to manage our tasks in email. So it looks like somebody who went to a Worldwide Partner Conference at one point. How do I get our IT department to buy into this? So traditionally, once we've done a requirements call, our first kickoff call, we do suggest that we get IT involved and talk about the same ways that they can leverage this platform in their own work. As I said, they should already have ServiceNow as the leading ITSM platform out there. Most IT departments at an enterprise level have this in place. So you probably have it, or they're looking at it right now, or have evaluated it. So getting them to buy in and having IT add value shouldn't be that hard. Cool. Looking at the time, we're about 3 minutes over, but I do appreciate everybody for joining us today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ping us at marketing@discovertechnologies.com or hit us up on the website, dtechapps.com. With that being said, Adam, thank you very much. And to all you joining from home or at work or wherever you may be, thanks again.
Thanks, DC. Thank you, folks.